Okay, this video is a book review. The name of the book is right here, 4 Centuries of American Education by David Barton. He's a real smart historian. This is another book that he wrote. It's really like a DVD series, American Heritage, the 4 Centuries of American Education. And I've read some other books by him, like, the biography of Thomas Jefferson. It was great. So this guy is really good. He knows American history, and he gets right to the point with original primary sources. Let me just get my picture shrunk here. Show you. Here is the cover of the book. This is a picture of him, David Barton, right here. And it's important for Americans to know that America was founded as a Christian nation. Almost all of the founding fathers were super, super religious and Christian. And even the ones who they'll try to tell you we're not that Christian, we're far more Christian than you believe. Like, they'll try to say Thomas Jefferson wasn't that Christian. He was a religious fanatic by modern standards, okay? Translating the Bible in different... he had all these... He could read in multiple different languages. He had all these different language translations of the Bible, all these different versions of the Bible. He's in all these Bible studies, buying Bibles for everybody. Anyway, so the reason I tell you these things is the foundation of freedom, it comes from Christian principles and from the Bible. Man is created in the image of God, therefore he is part like God, part divine, part beast, therefore entitled to natural rights, property, privacy, free speech, etc., etc. And if you don't have these things, then you end up with atheistic Darwinism, whereby, might is right, and whoever's got the power just does whatever they want, and no one else has any say. And I know there's all kinds of other religions and cultures, but the reality is there's only two real forces in America. Okay, there's either atheistic, Darwinistic communism, or there is Christianity and freedom. Okay, that's really it. Okay, all the other cultures, yeah, that's fine. They deserve to have their own business or whatever. But the reality is, it's one or the other is the only thing America is. Okay, and unfortunately, most Americans don't understand that we're like on the highway to slavery. You have to have free speech, but free speech has been taken away everywhere with censorship. If you're like aware of what's going on, I can assure you there is aggressive censorship and control of what you're allowed to know. When you get to some of the other sites, the other video channels, you'll see a lot more free speech than you will see here. There's no comparison. And just to give you like a little sense of America, Harvard was established to train ministers of the gospel. So was Yale. Princeton was also based on a Bible education. The founding fathers pushed very heavy for intensive Christian education of the young people because they knew that the future was all dependent on that. And, that's what got rid of slavery. You have to have respect for the individual. And I'll give credit to Ayn Rand as well. She said the smallest minority is the individual because you need it to be based on individual rights. Nothing else will work. If you look at, John Stuart Mill, the so-called famous philosopher of England who wrote the book on liberty in the mid-1800s, his philosophy does not work. Utilitarianism. Utilitarianism says the greatest good for the greatest number. That sounds nice at first, but once you think about it, it's ridiculous. What that means, if there's 10 people and 9 out of the 10 say we want to eat the 10th person, well, that's the greatest good based on what the 9 out of the 10 want. That's why it has to be based on the individual or it never works. Okay, let's see. At Harvard, all the students were told, let every student be plainly instructed that the main end of life and studies is to know God and Jesus, with Christ as the only foundation of all sound knowledge and learning. Okay? The students were required to read the scriptures 2 times a day. The reason I go through all this stuff with you is, I'm sad that America is being forced into slavery and the vast majority of the public is too ignorant and stupid to even realize what's happening. But if you've read history, if you only want to study one thing, study Soviet Russia in the 1900s, beginning, with the early 1900s and the transition from the time of Dostoevsky to what happened after 1917. That will at least give you a beginner's foundation, okay? It's obvious. It's all the same stuff, simply put into the modern technology context, okay? Princeton said every student needs to attend worship in the college hall every morning and evening. They shall attend church on the Sabbath. Okay, Yale, all of its students. The great end of all your studies is the knowledge of God and His Son, Jesus Christ. Okay, Samuel Adams, neither the wisest constitution nor laws will secure liberty and happiness unless a people whose manners are corrupt. It goes on and on. All of them say basically the same thing. The most important thing is to get a Bible-based education. The reason is, if you study something with a bunch of stories like the Bible, you remember that versus think about what you remember from grade school and high school. Most people remember nothing except typing. The modern education, it's fake. It's a joke. All this time spent in mathematics. Mathematics is a joke and a waste of time. Like I said, I'm a high-tech doctor. I don't use any math I didn't know after third grade. Students should be learning all this religious stuff. Now, by the way, I'm not that dogmatic. I'm quite familiar with a lot of Bible translations and lots of Bible commentary. And the Bible's, there's been tons of intentional and unintentional mistranslations such that, you don't want to drive yourself crazy with all the details and the dogmatic issues on the minor translation differences and why they were done the way. Like King James Bible, everyone says, oh, it's the greatest Bible. It's literarily very pleasant. Tyndale was a great translator, but, the King James Bible was controlled by King James, and he wanted to use it to increase his own authority so he could appoint all the bishops and he'd have more control of things. So there's inherent biases in the King James Version as well in other versions, and I just say that. So, like I said, it's not that people need to be Christian either. They just have to have the Christian ethics. Otherwise, you can't maintain a free country. The more Christian a country is, the more educated it is, and the more free it will be. Secularism doesn't work. Secularism just says might is right, and everything becomes based on force. Okay, that's not what you want. Charles Carroll, signer of the Declaration of Independence, without morals, a republic cannot subsist for any length of time. All the state constitutions used to, not all of them, but most of them said they required religion to be taught in their public schools. In 1860, out of 288 college presidents, 262 were ministers of the gospel. So more than 90% were ministers of the gospel. Okay, more than 1/3 of all university faculty members were ministers. All right. Catholic Church is what founded the modern scientific method. If you study history, I studied a lot of history. I can tell you, you'd be amazed at all the good stuff that comes from it. All the art, most of the best literature, most of the real creativity, the best painting, the best sculpture, the best music, it all comes from it. And that's because it understands human nature. And I told you too, the psychology of Christianity is much better than the psychology of psychology. The field of psychology has become a joke. Whatever new trend comes along, they jump on the bandwagon. They have no moral foundation about that whatsoever. Whatever new pronouns they're told to take, okay, fine, I'll take your new pronouns. It's ridiculous. They can't tell you the difference between a man and a woman. How are they going to give you relationship advice? It's ridiculous. They're just going to push you towards psychiatry and drug the crap out of you. Okay, look what's happening in Canada right now. They have something called MAID, and that stands for the M and then an A, and the next letter is an I, then a D. Medical assistance in helping people commit suicide. Is that insane? And I can tell you what they're doing. They start out saying, oh, it's just for elderly, debilitated people. Then they start expanding more and more people, sad people, frustrated people, even children now without parental consent. And now they want to use it more and more for mental illness. And I heard, somebody saying they've already bumped off around 50,000. And I can tell you, they want it approved for psychology. And what they're going to do is they're just going to declare anybody who doesn't agree with what their new policy or their new rule is, they'll say that person's mentally ill, and they'll just order them to be executed. And I'm telling you, you don't understand. This is all standard stuff through, unfair rulers for, thousands of years, okay? And we were sort of free from it for a while because we had Christian countries. But now that we've abandoned Christianity, we're getting all this stuff back again where basically the ruler is essentially becomes God, and they do whatever they want. Okay, Benjamin Rush, one of the founding fathers in 1791, wrote, Christianity is the only true and perfect religion, and in proportion as mankind adopts its principles and obeys its precepts, they will be wise and happy. The Bible should be read in our schools in preference to all other books. They wanted the Bible taught in grade schools. As a matter of fact, I had it somewhere in here. They use it to teach the alphabet, okay? All these grade school books, high school books were all based on the Bible, tons of them. He has got all like the source documents in here. You can see all this guy's a real serious historian. And then in 1962, things really took a negative turn where public school education was strongly secularized in 1962. Voluntary prayer was forbidden. The Bible was ordered out of the school libraries. The Ten Commandment displays were ordered removed. Christian art was covered up and removed. Religious content in student papers and speeches was forbidden. Students were given a 0 if they write, that should be write with a W, on a religious topic. They were not allowed to bring their personal Bibles to school to read during free time. This is all being done as a way to push society towards slavery. Rulers don't want free people. They want slaves, okay? I mean, look back at the Roman Empire. Okay, the Roman emperor would order that he has a different concubine woman for every single day. if you don't have Christianity, that's what you get, okay? Traditional Christmas programs are ended. So Christmas is like the most joyous time of the year. All the bright lights, all the celebrations, all the homecomings, all the fun, all the joy. And what does it get replaced with? Winter break. Okay, winter break is BS. It has no soul. It's crap, okay? Instead of Easter, spring break, you know? And they sort of promote this, you know, hedonism, because hedonism weakens people. That's why hedonism is promoted. It's just a short-term step, okay? Also, after 1962, SAT scores just plummeted, literacy rates dropped. The more secular education becomes, the less successful it is academically. And that's, you know, Benjamin Rush, another founding father. I put the page numbers on here if you want to look these things up in the book. It's a pretty short book. What is it? It's only about, this one's only about 60-something pages. I just show you these things because I'm hoping enough people will sort of be aware of this that they'll try not to let it happen. We don't have to become a slave state. We don't have to bring back slavery, okay? And if you think that slavery is not returning, then you obviously don't know what's going on. I mean, take a look around. You know, the same people who say they're going to fix the environment are the ones who are, you know, turning the cities into third world crap holes. Okay, they don't want you. They want you gone. They want you to decrease your population numbers. Why do you think the open border is called the great, you know what? R-E space replenishment, okay? They want to replace you, get rid of you. Don't you get it? I'm trying to help you, but you got to do a little reading on your own. You got to go to some other video channels where you'll learn what's happening. So I hope it's not too late. I hope freedom can persist in America. I hope we can maintain individual rights. That's the only thing that'll work. And I told you, people say, oh, we don't need religion for science. Yes, you do. You need it more than you can imagine. Without religion, you don't really have science because, you know, modern science, there's no such thing. Modern science, for the most part, means big company pays scientists to create a fake study and lie to sell their product, or to push what they want, whatever it is, to force all the people to do something. They get a fake expert to say what they're told based on money, okay? That's what this modern science is. I can tell you all the medical books are fake. They're all pieces of crap. I can tell you that. I can guarantee you that. I can go through every detail as I've done to some extent in my previous lectures. And what I'm saying is, until you adopt this mentality, the individual is important. We put, you know, life first, okay? We've gone from, you know, save the baby to save the trees and kill the babies, okay? When you have secular humanistic atheism, think about it. Everything is done to reduce your numbers. I've told you, all of the food, of the, you know, subsidized processed food, it's all full of chemicals to make you infertile. Your water is full of chemicals to make you infertile. Numerous other things are being done to make you infertile. Promiscuity is encouraged in the high schools to make the kids infertile. This is not by accident, okay? You are being made to go extinct and be put into slavery. And so books like this help tell you where you came from and how a country, you know, can be free. And so I wish more people understood this, but sadly, so few do. Anyways, that's the book review for today.